Welcome to the Everything Embodiment Podcast, where I will help you find peace, understanding, and love all within your human body, enhancing your mind-body connection through the exploration of vast ideas, concepts, and modalities, discussions all meant to propel you along your own unique spiritual journey. I'm your host, Amber Miller. Hello and welcome back to the Everything Embodiment Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Miller. I am so grateful that you're here today. I hope that I can share something new. But first I want to check in. How are you all doing? April was a very intense month astrologically, and I don't follow astrology religiously, but I do keep up with what's going on, and I know that April was intense. I definitely received the message loud and clear that I need to slow down. I think I got stopped at more trains during Mercury retrograde than I ever have in my life, and that was a 3-week period. And also on the last day of Mercury retrograde, my TV just blew up. It just stopped working on the last day. I almost made it, but Mercury retrograde still got me in the final hour, but not too bad when all is said and done. Okay, so for this week's episode, I want to talk about angelic and energy healing. Now, as I have previously mentioned, or if you know me from my socials, I do offer angel Reiki, and I just know that a lot of people don't know much, if anything, about it, so I just thought I would get that information out there and available to you guys before we got any deeper into the podcast. Many people are aware of Reiki, but I have found that not everyone knows there are many modalities of energy healing. And Usui Reiki, that is so popular, is just one of the many. I myself, when starting out, had no idea. I just really listened to my heart's pull to learn energetic healing and excitedly completed training and received my Master Reiki Healer certification. Now, I really enjoyed the training and learning everything, and I really believed in the healing power of it. And I was so confused that when I actually received my certification, I felt almost an aversion to offering Reiki to anyone. What was this mixed signals I was getting? I know I felt the call to learn, so why am I not resonating? I also had a really hard time deciding if I was infringing on cultural appropriation with the Reiki, and I don't believe I was, but it is something that I really questioned. I knew that I felt the call to learn, so why was it not resonating? So just a couple weeks after obtaining my certificate, I did find out I was pregnant with my second child and wrote off not being interested in the Reiki as some form of protecting my energy and the energy of this baby. So I did get pregnant right after having a very, very painful miscarriage. It actually kicked off this whole spiritual journey. So I was ultra sensitive to where my energy was going in regards to this pregnancy. After my son was born, I still felt that aversion to practicing Reiki on anyone outside of my immediate family. And even then, it just really didn't resonate. I was very early in my spiritual development, and before I knew it, it was time to go back to work after my maternity leave. I was truly devastated to be leaving my kids for work and coped by binging podcasts, typically of a spiritual nature, at work when I could, and I would listen for hours. I learned so much about surrender, mediumship, energy healing, self-empowerment, and by no accident, I did stumble upon a podcast called Angels and Awakenings. It is put out by Julie Jancis, and she talked about Angel Reiki School, and I felt that spark again, that full body yes. Now, at that time, I had no idea that by human design, I have a sacral response and my body can give me the yes or no response. But even without any awareness of human design, I knew I wanted to take this course, even though I already had a Reiki certification and one that I really was not using. So my egoic voice very much tried to talk me out of enrolling, but I pushed it aside, followed my intuition, and signed up. Once I had completed the program, it was clear why I no longer resonated with the Sui Reiki. I believe that I was led to that first training to give me a very strong knowledge and foundation of the mechanics of energy healing. I have a very science mind, and the particular Sui Reiki course that I took and instructor was heavy on the science and the mechanics of energy healing. And I just know for where I was at that time of my spiritual journey, that's what I needed to believe and learn and actually use the information that I was being taught. And now, having completed the angel Reiki, I know that I am supposed to use the energy healing, but work with the angels. So in today's episode, I would love to help you guys understand the very basics of energetic healing and how I blend that to work with the angels. Again, this is just scratching the surface, and think of it as a beginner's class. To get started, I will go over a little bit of energetic anatomy. So in our energetic space, we've got our auric field, and that has several layers, and we're not going to get into that today, but within us, we've got energetic centers, and these centers, sometimes called chakras, they govern and digest and process and send out energetic information and signals through our physical bodies. These energetic centers fluctuate constantly and adjust according to our individual personality, emotions, habits, thoughts, actions, lifestyle choices, and through our environment and relationships. Because of the constant fluctuations, energy work is not a one-time deal, but an ongoing process. After time, you really do learn to check in with yourself and can feel your imbalances. I do my own clearings and healings regularly, but will still seek an attunement from a friend if I'm feeling sick or in some kind of emotional disturbance where I just need a little help. A daily practice I do is when I'm in the shower, I will set the intention for clearing my energy. I wash away energy no longer serving me or any energy that is no longer mine, and just imagine it being recycled and refreshed. Now back to the energy centers. Each center is energetically associated with a different area of the endocrine system, and they also affect the entire region of the physical body, including bones, muscles, skin, organs, based on where they are located. We have got many of these energetic centers or chakras, and for the sake of this episode, I'm going to just talk about I hesitate to say main 7, but the popular 7. Again, there are many. When I'm starting a healing session, I like to quickly go head to toe and just kind of get a feel for how the energy centers are feeling. Are any of them depleted or any of them excessive? And look for just a pattern. I found that when the lower are open and the top are closed or, depleted, a person might have feeling of being on autopilot, whereas upper open and bottom depleted are going to feel ungrounded and spacey. Now, if they're all depleted, a person might be low energy, or that might be my sign that they're depressed. And if they're all overcharged, I would guess that the person has problems with concentration. So while I said when I am doing the initial scan, I start head to toe, I am going to start bottom up in my discussion of these energetic centers today. So first, I am going to talk about our root space. Now that is associated with the color red, and it is located at the base of our pelvis and close to our tailbone. The part of the endocrine system that it is correlated to would be the adrenals. So when this chakra is in balance, we feel stable, we feel safe. When it's excessive, it's going to lead to intense feelings or anger or the need to control everything. A depleted space will lead to excessive fears and a focus on insecurity, meaning money or material needs. When I'm doing healing work in this space, I actually get a lot of imagery of a thick rope. And now based on how this rope looks is how I interpret the health of the energetic center to be. So sometimes I see this rope pulled so tight it's about to snap, and other times I see it and it's just frayed and loose and blowing in the wind. And if there is an emphasis on a fear of insecurity, this is where I would call in Archangel Ariel. She's the angel of nature, and I definitely see her when working with animals and anything close to the earth. But because she is so close to the earth, she does help with your day to day material needs. So, food, clothing, so forth. Call upon Ariel for strength and support if you are worried about finances or desperate times. So I will see her in this space. She actually came through and I was taking notes for this podcast as a reminder that we can call on her when we are having trouble surrendering worries about money or, anything financial related, even though she is typically associated with animals. And you can always just ask generically angels of abundance. Moving on to our sacral space, which is associated with color orange and located above the root but below our navels. And they are also, this space is associated with ovaries and testes. So sacral has everything to do with emotions, with our relationships with others. When in balance, we are going to feel content and joy in our relationships. We have a healthy sexual expression. When our sacral space is out of balance, we may feel lonely, isolated, or feelings of jealousy. And when depleted, we may even feel low or no libido, lack any drive to connect with others. And when overcharged, we may be, without realizing, misusing our sexual attention or maybe having issues with the relationships in our lives. In addition to that, this is the space where I am generally greeted by Archangel Raphael and his team of healers. If you don't know, he's usually surrounded with a whole team of healers. So when he comes in, he shows me things going on with the physical body. This is where someone will come to me with feelings of depression, and it'll come up that they've got a toothache, and Archangel Raphael will be providing healing there. I really, really enjoy, I have a strong medical background, and I just really feel a deep connection working with Archangel Raphael and working through things in the body. And this is also a space where we kind of work together to cut cords and release energetic ties that are just no longer serving anymore. Through working with Archangel Raphael, he has shown me a system of identifying these trapped or stuck emotions and where they get trapped or stuck in the body. And as wild as it sounds, we work together to release these stuck emotions that are trapped in the body. So going back to Usui Reiki, that is working with sacred symbols. And I do believe that they work. But this is just showing how different angelic Reiki is versus the Usui Reiki. Nothing's better than the other. It's just that this one resonates with me more. Next is our solar plexus, and that is located below the rib cage and above the navel. That is also associated with the color yellow, and it is going to have direct association with our pancreas. When our solar plexus is healthy, it allows us to feel confident and we feel empowered. And again, we're going to feel that joy that's the ultimate goal of life, is to feel joy. So when it's out of balance, we may feel anxious, that anxious pit in our stomach feeling. We might even have actual digestion issues. In addition to those, we might lack personal boundaries or disrespect the boundaries of others. When I'm in this space, I will typically be greeted by the person, the sitter's inner child. And if it's appropriate for where this person is in their healing, I will see the relationship the person has with their inner child. And sometimes I see a really happy, seen, felt, heard inner child. And sometimes I see a really lonely, sad inner child. And that is an indication that there is some inner child work to do. Also, hand in hand with the inner child, I will see Archangel Michael in this space, and he pops in comforting the inner child, and we all kind of work together to provide a healing that's most appropriate at this time and for the greatest good of, everyone involved. Moving along, we get to our heart space. Now, this is associated with the color green, and it is located at the center of our chest, and it's associated with our thymus. This space allows us to express, give, and receive love. It allows for compassion for all. When out of balance, we can feel uncomfortable giving or receiving the energy of love from others or even from ourselves. This space is associated with holding grudges and resentment. So again, a lot of inner child work, shadow work, self-worth. It's going to show up here. And I will see when I'm in this space kind of in my mind, I'll get an image of your physical heart, not physical wise, but I will get the emotional health of your heart. A lot of times we can go through trauma and sadness that will leave our heart kind of closed off, and that will be shown to me. And we're not always ready to deal with that and kind of unboxing our hearts or removing the cords or the heart wall. So just a gentle healing is given without doing the deep work, but sometimes it is shown to me that the person is ready to release that trauma and open their heart back up. So again, I will work with Michael, Archangel Michael, in this space to provide that healing. Next up is the throat chakra, and that is the center of the neck. It's associated with the color blue and the thyroid. When in balance, communication is easy. We can speak our truth, and when out of balance, we may lack the confidence to speak up for ourselves, and we may find ourselves gossiping or lying or simply not being true to our word. I personally am always working on my throat chakra. I catch myself gossiping at work, and I also catch myself not being true to my word. It's been a journey to be able to say no when making plans with people instead of making plans that I know I'm going to flake on later. For help in this throat space, I am always met by Archangel Gabriel. But it is interesting in this space. I will see others show up here occasionally, and regardless of religion, I will see Mother Mary here quite a bit. And that is usually when I'm working with a mother who just is lacking on the self-care, and I will know that by Mother Mary's presence, and it's always here where she shows up. And I will get imagery of the throat chakra and the health, and I just have seen so many different stages of health of this chakra. I've seen it completely just calcified and closed, and I've seen it completely wide open. Something else that influences how our throat chakra is going to look is our self-talk. And I have found, and I was guilty of this myself, so many people have such negative self-talk, and that does show up here. So the health of the throat chakra is a very useful indicator of how we are speaking to ourselves. Next up, we have the third eye, and that is located between the eyebrows, and it is with the color indigo and associated with the pituitary system. This space is where our ego can be challenged. This is where we see the world through our higher selves. Here is where our extrasensory gifts lie, or our clairs. So again, we have a lot of clairs. I'm just going to go over some popular ones. We got clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairsentience, which is clear feeling, claircognizance, which is clear knowing. There are more. I'll just keep it there. When we are in balance, we can see the truth in a situation. We are seeing and thinking clearly. Our mind is stable. When out of balance, there will be a strong hold from ego. Can get wrapped up in false beliefs from ego, such as I can't. It will keep us stuck or playing small because it feels familiar, which in turn feels safe. I personally had the most intense struggle with ego. I still do, but it has what has held up this spiritual journey for me. Ego likes to keep us safe. Thinking small keeps us safe. Being doubtful keeps us safe. I have had to learn to acknowledge my egoic thoughts, thank them for what they are, and just set them aside. They are no longer serving me anymore. An angel that I do often see here is Archangel Haniel, and she is associated with spirituality, and I believe her to be a bit of a spiritual teacher and advisor, and I will see her here when somebody is on the spiritual journey or development. We have now made it to our crown chakra, which is located on the top of our head. It's associated with violet or even ultraviolet and our pineal glands, but also melatonin and sleep. And it is our connection to the divine. When in balance, we are feeling free-flowing a free-flowing conscious connection with the divine. It is us. We are it. It allows the messages and inspirations and downloads that come from stillness and meditation. When out of balance, we may feel cut off from our spiritual connection, lots of doubts in our beliefs. And when it's in excess, it may lead to an engagement of addiction or escapism to spirituality to the point of the physical realm is neglected. Something worth mentioning here, I have seen it. I have seen people get addicted where they can't make a decision. We are here for the human experience part of this as well. So this is a very real thing that can happen for some people. In this space, I will see Archangel Metatron. I feel Metatron shows up here as he knows where we are and need to be on our life paths. And I do see him here acknowledging the progress that we've made. Okay, that is a very basic summary of the popular energetic centers in our bodies and just a few of the angels that I do work with during our sessions. I hope you felt this was informative and helpful. That was my intention. I could go much, much deeper with this. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. You can find me on my socials at amber.nicole.eoe or check out my website, Emerald Oak Energy. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you will check back next week.